Most people don't realize this is already happening. Right now, what if someone handed you $20,000, not as a loan, not as a prize, but simply because you agreed to pack your bags and move? In real American towns, with real government money sitting in accounts, waiting to be claimed. Here's the thing. While millions of Americans are grinding 60-hour work weeks just to afford rent in cities that cost more every single year, a small group of people figured out the loophole. They moved. They got paid. And they're not talking about it nearly enough. Did you know one Midwest city will hand you a cash grant and pay off a chunk of your student loans just for relocating there? Or that a rural mountain state is so desperate to fill its valleys with remote workers that it's offering cold hard cash, co-working memberships, and outdoor recreation passes as part of one package deal? And here's what almost nobody is telling you. Several of these programs are still open. Right now. Still accepting applications as of this year. Get ready, because today on Life in the State, we're breaking down the 8 relocation incentive programs still active across the United States. Who qualifies, how much you can actually get, and which ones have quietly handed out millions of dollars already. Let's get into it. Before we go any further, if you have never subscribed to this channel, now is the moment. We cover the geography, the hidden economics, and the wild, absurd truths about life across American states that most channels completely miss. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment right now telling us, which state would you actually consider moving to for money? We read every single one. Now, let's talk about the programs. Today on Life in the State, we're diving deep into the 8 relocation programs still accepting applications right now, and we're ranking them by total value, accessibility, and long-term benefit to the person relocating. We built this list by cross-referencing active program portals, verified state and municipal government sources, regional economic development reports, and workforce recruitment announcements from 2024 into 2025. If a program had expired or paused, it didn't make the list. Every single program you're about to hear, still live, still funded, still waiting. Let's get into it. Program number 1, Tulsa Remote, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Up to $10,000 cash plus community perks. Start with Tulsa, Oklahoma, and before you roll your eyes at the name, hear this out. Tulsa Remote became one of the most talked about relocation experiments in American history. What started as a bold bet by the George Kaiser Family Foundation turned into a nationally recognized program that has already relocated over 3,000 remote workers into the heart of the Sooner State. Here's the structure. Accepted applicants receive $10,000 in cash, paid out over 12 months. But that's just the headline number. What most people don't mention is the ecosystem built around the program. Co-working space memberships, a built-in community of fellow transplants, and direct connections to local networking events and professional groups. The city itself is genuinely wild from a value standpoint. Tulsa's median home price sits dramatically below the national average. In some neighborhoods, you're looking at homes that would cost 3 times as much in Austin, Denver, or Seattle. The cost of living gap is so absurd that the $10,000 doesn't just cover a moving truck. For many remote workers, it represents months of financial breathing room. What nobody talks about is the culture. Tulsa has a legitimately thriving art scene. The Philbrook Museum sits in a historic Italian villa. The Gathering Place is one of the most architecturally stunning public parks built in America in the last decade. This isn't a forgotten city. It's a city that decided to fight back against population drain by simply writing checks. Tulsa Remote remains active and is one of the few programs with a proven, multi-year track record. If you work remotely and earn at least $60,000 a year, you're potentially eligible. Program number 2, West Virginia Ascend, West Virginia. Up to $12,000 cash plus outdoor recreation package. West Virginia sits at a geographical crossroads that most Americans have never thought about. The state is within a 5-hour drive of roughly 60% of the U.S. population, yet its own population has been shrinking for decades. The state's response? The Ascend West Virginia program, one of the most layered relocation packages offered anywhere in the country. Here's what accepted remote workers receive. $12,000 in cash, spread over 2 years. But here's where it gets strange and genuinely interesting. The package also includes a free outdoor recreation pass, whitewater rafting, skiing, hiking, ziplining, plus free co-working space for a full year and a network integration program designed to help newcomers actually build roots, not just collect a check and ghost. West Virginia is betting everything on a simple thesis. If remote workers experience the Appalachian Mountains, the New River Gorge National Park, and the insane quality of life per dollar, they'll stay. And data from the program's early cohorts suggests they're right. Retention rates are significantly higher than skeptics predicted. The New River Gorge, for context, is older than virtually every other river system on the continent. It's one of the oldest rivers in North America, carving through rock that predates the Appalachian Mountains themselves. That's not a metaphor. The river is literally older than the mountains surrounding it. Wild. Ascend West Virginia is still actively recruiting. Remote workers, creatives, and tech professionals are all eligible to apply. Program number 3, Northwest Arkansas Life Works Here Arkansas. Up to $10,000 cash or a bike. This one has the most unusual offer in the entire list, and that's saying something. Northwest Arkansas gives accepted applicants a choice: $10,000 in cash or a $10,000 bike plus other lifestyle perks. Yes, a bike. Because the region has invested so heavily in trail infrastructure that cycling is genuinely central to daily life there. But the money and the bike are almost secondary to the story of what's happened in this corner of Arkansas. Walmart's global headquarters sits in Bentonville. So does Tyson Foods. So does J.B. Hunt Transport. The economic gravity of Northwest Arkansas is completely out of proportion to what most Americans imagine when they picture the state. Crystal Bridges Museum, set in a forested ravine and designed by architect Moshe Safdie, houses a collection that rivals museums in cities 10 times larger. The region's trail network spans hundreds of miles through the Ozarks, making it a legitimate destination for outdoor enthusiasts. The Life Works Here program is funded by the Walton Family Foundation and has attracted applicants from across the country. It targets remote workers and recent graduates willing to plant roots in a region that's growing faster than almost anywhere in the South. If you prefer cash over a carbon fiber bicycle, that option still exists. Applications are being reviewed on a rolling basis. Program number 4, Shoals Remote Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Up to $10,000 plus Music City Heritage. Most people have never heard of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and that's exactly the point. This small cluster of towns along the Tennessee River produced some of the most legendary music recordings in American history. Aretha Franklin recorded here. The Rolling Stones recorded here. Lynyrd Skynyrd. Percy Sledge. The list is absurd for a place most people can't locate on a map. The Shoals Remote program offers up to $10,000 in cash incentives for remote workers who relocate to this region, and the cultural depth of the area is unlike anything you'd expect. The Tennessee River cuts through this part of Alabama with a geological force that shaped the entire region's history. Wilson Dam, one of the earliest hydroelectric projects in the American South, was built here during World War I, older than most of the infrastructure most Americans interact with daily. Housing costs in the Shoals area are some of the lowest among all the programs on this list. For someone fleeing a coastal city, the financial whiplash is immediate and dramatic. The same salary that barely covers rent in Atlanta becomes genuinely comfortable here. Shoals Remote continues to accept applications and has made a compelling case that overlooked American places have far more to offer than the coasts would have you believe. Program number 5, Greater Topeka, Kansas. Up to $15,000 cash plus job placement. Here's where the numbers start getting serious. Greater Topeka's Choose Topeka program, run in partnership with the city and Shawnee County, offers up to $15,000 for renters and up to $25,000 for home buyers who relocate and take a job within the region. It is one of the highest value programs in the country for people willing to make the full commitment. Topeka sits in the Flint Hills region of Kansas, one of the last remaining tallgrass prairie ecosystems on Earth. Less than 4% of original tallgrass prairie still exists globally. 4%. And a substantial stretch of it runs directly through the landscape surrounding this city. The Kanza Prairie Biological Station nearby is one of the most scientifically significant grassland preserves on the continent, an ecosystem that supported vast bison migrations for thousands of years before European settlement fundamentally altered the landscape. For remote workers with existing employment, the cash incentives are substantial. For job seekers, the program actively connects applicants with regional employers across healthcare, tech, and manufacturing sectors. Kansas doesn't get nearly enough credit for the sheer, almost hypnotic beauty of its open landscape. Standing in a tallgrass prairie under a Kansas sky, nothing between you and the horizon for 40 miles, is one of those geographic experiences that recalibrates the nervous system. Choose Topeka is active in accepting applicants now. Program number 6, Newton, Iowa Remote Worker Grant. Newton, Iowa. $10,000 for home purchase. Newton, Iowa, sits about 30 miles east of Des Moines, and it has a story that perfectly captures what's happening in small-town America right now. For decades, Newton was defined by one company, Maytag. The appliance manufacturer employed thousands of residents and anchored the entire local economy. When Maytag shuttered its operations and moved manufacturing overseas in 2007, Newton lost more than jobs. It lost its identity. What happened next is either a heartbreaking cautionary tale or an inspiring comeback story, depending on how you look at it, and honestly, it's both. The Iowa Speedway was built in Newton's backyard. The city diversified. And now, Newton is offering $10,000 in grants to remote workers who purchase a home within city limits, a direct effort to repopulate a community that the global economy once hollowed out. The agricultural landscape surrounding Newton is quintessentially Midwestern, flat, fertile, and stretching to the edge of vision in every direction. Iowa's soil is some of the richest on the planet. The state sits atop glacially deposited loess, wind-blown silt from the last ice age, that makes the land almost impossibly productive. Newton's grant program is straightforward. Buy a home, work remotely, become part of a community actively rebuilding itself. Applications are open. Program number 7, Remote Tulsa, Continued Cohorts, plus Morgantown, West Virginia variants. Multiple state subprograms exist within the West Virginia Ascend umbrella targeting Morgantown, Lewisburg, and Shepherdstown specifically, each with slightly different perks and community integration tracks. What's worth understanding is that West Virginia didn't build one program. It built a constellation of them. Morgantown specifically, home to West Virginia University, has emerged as a sub-destination within the Ascend framework, targeting younger professionals and recent graduates. The university creates a cultural energy that distinguishes Morgantown from the rest of the state's offerings. There are craft breweries, live music venues, and a downtown that punches significantly above its weight class. The Monongahela River, locally called the Mon, bends through the city in a way that has shaped its geography for centuries. River towns in Appalachia carry a particular kind of American history. Boom cycles tied to coal, glass, and steel, followed by the brutal arithmetic of deindustrialization, followed now by the slow, stubborn work of reinvention. Morgantown's reinvention is further along than most people realize. Applications under the West Virginia Ascend umbrella can be directed toward Morgantown as a preferred destination. Program number 8, Plainville, Kansas and Rural Opportunity Zones Rural Kansas. Up to $15,000 plus 5-year state income tax exemption. And here's the one that might be the most financially powerful program on this entire list, and the least discussed. Kansas operates a broader Rural Opportunity Zones program that covers 95 counties across the state. The offer is this: relocate to a participating rural county, and you can receive up to $15,000 in student loan repayment assistance and a 5-year Kansas state income tax exemption. Let that land for a moment. 5 years. No state income tax. For someone earning $70, $80, or $100,000 remotely, a 5-year state income tax exemption is worth far more than a one-time cash payment. Depending on your income, that exemption could represent $20, $30, even $40,000 in total savings over the eligibility period. Western Kansas is one of the most geographically extreme places in the continental United States. The Ogallala Aquifer, the hidden freshwater system beneath the Great Plains, runs directly under this region, making the landscape simultaneously arid and agriculturally vital. Drive through Liberal or Dodge City, and you're crossing terrain that supported the most dramatic cattle drive era in American history. The Long Trail, the Chisholm Trail, these names are encoded in the landscape itself. Rural Kansas asks something of you. The distances are real. The nearest major city might be 2 hours away. The winters are genuine. But for the right person, someone who values space, silence, low cost of living, and genuine financial incentives, the Rural Opportunity Zones program is arguably the most strategically powerful relocation deal in the country. Applications are open through county-level economic development offices across participating regions. Real quick, if this video is hitting different, if you're genuinely sitting there running the numbers in your head right now, that's exactly what this channel is built for. Subscribe if you haven't, and drop a comment below telling us which program caught your attention the most. Watching you all debate these in the comments is genuinely one of the best parts of running this channel. Now back to it. Here's the thing that ties all 8 of these programs together, and it's a geographic truth that most people completely miss. The United States is not running out of space. It is running out of people willing to distribute themselves across it. America's coastal cities are genuinely bursting. Housing costs, traffic, overcrowding, the psychological toll of density. Meanwhile, hundreds of towns and counties across the Midwest, the South, and Appalachia are sitting on extraordinary natural landscapes, dramatically lower costs of living, and, now, real cash incentives designed to pull people back. The tallgrass prairies of Kansas. the Appalachian Ridges of West Virginia, the Tennessee River Valley in Alabama, the Ozark Mountains straddling Arkansas. These aren't consolation prizes for people who couldn't make it in a big city. These are some of the most geographically and historically rich places in the country, places that American culture largely decided to overlook somewhere around 1980. These programs are a bet that the overlooking is about to end. And for the remote worker, the person whose job exists entirely inside a laptop, whose employer genuinely doesn't care what zip code they wake up in, this is possibly the most absurd financial arbitrage available in modern American life. Get paid to move somewhere with a fraction of the cost of living. Bank the difference. Buy land. Build something. Most people won't do it. The unfamiliarity of a new place feels too big, too uncertain. But a smaller group of people, maybe you, will run the numbers, realize the math is simply undeniable, and make a move that changes their financial trajectory completely. The programs we covered today: Tulsa Remote in Oklahoma, West Virginia Ascend, Life Works here in Northwest Arkansas, Shoals Remote in Alabama, Choose Topeka in Kansas, Newton, Iowa's Remote Worker Grant, the Morgantown cohort of WV Ascend, and Kansas's Rural Opportunity Zones, arguably the most powerful long-term value of any program on this list. All 8 are still active. All 8 are still accepting applications. And every single one of them represents a town, a county, or a state that is trying, sometimes desperately, to write a new chapter. Before you go anywhere, we have a very specific question for you, and we genuinely want to see your answers in the comments. Which of these 8 programs would you actually apply to, and what's stopping you? Drop it below, because every single comment on this video tells us you found something worth stopping for, and it also tells YouTube's algorithm that this video deserves to reach more people who need to hear it. If you are not subscribed to Life in the State yet, today is the day. We publish deep dives on American geography, state history, regional economics, and the hidden stories of places most people fly over and never think about again. While we do our best to provide you with the most accurate information, these are after all our takes based on data we analyzed from active program portals and regional development sources. You should absolutely verify current program status and eligibility directly with each organization before making any decisions. Programs can update their terms, pause, or close. Always confirm directly with the source. Subscribe for new videos weekly, and we'll see you in the next one.